So hi guys, welcome back. And in this video, we are going to set up ammunition system for our weapon system. And on top of that, we are going to set up reload animation as well. So once you have fully watched this video, this is how it's going to look like. All right. So first thing, what we're going to do is we are going to start with a UI. So I'm going to make a folder for that called UI. And inside here, I'm going to make a folder called images because I want to import a crosshair as well while I'm doing this. So then after that, let's go to this user interface and create a widget blueprint. Our user widget, and I'm going to call it PlayerHUD. So open this one and go to the panel and add canvas panel. So over here, we need a few things. One is vertical box. So I'm going to anchor this to this left corner, bottom right corner, sorry. Move it over here. I'm going to fix it. 0.5 on alignment. And I'm going to add text. I'm going to add two text over here, 1 and 2. The first one is going to be our text ammo. So I'm going to call it current ammo, and I'm going to make it a variable. I'm going to make it field. I'm going to make it to left. Sorry, I'm going to make it auto, and it's going to be on the left side. Also on the vertical box, I'm going to select size to content. And then the next text will be text ammo reserve. So now I'm going to add, for now, just make it 0. Over here, I'm going to make this one 0 as well. Also, on this ammo reserve, I'm going to make it variable as well. So this is how it's going to look like. Also, in the meantime, let's add a crosshair as well. So for that, I'm going to add an image and select the image. I'm going to name it crosshair. And onto the anchor, click on, it says hold Control and Shift. So click on Control and Shift and click on this middle screen. So we have this image over here. So now let's import the crosshair image. So I'm going to download crosshair from Chrome. So over here, I'm on this website called Icons 8. And over here, I'm going to download this white crosshair. Just click on download. Let's make it 96 by 96. And PNG is okay for us, and I'm going to download. So onto my image folder, I'm going to import it. So this one, let's rename it to Crosshair. And every time you import a image or texture, right click on it, go to sprite action, and always click on apply paper 2D texture setting. And then I'm going to save it. So first of all, on the image, click on size to content, and on the brush over here, search for that crosshair that we just imported. There we go. And that should be it. Now we need to add this on our player character. So open your BP player character. And over here, I'm going to make a new function called add PlayerHUD. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create widget. And the owning player will be the kit player controller, because controller owns the UI every time. So every time you make a UI, you can just get player controller. And I'm going to search for our PlayerHUD. And first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to promote it to variable. And I'm going to add it to player screen. You can add it to viewport as well, but I think adding to player screen is better. Now, let's check if this is working. Okay, it's not working because I have just made a function, but I haven't added it onto our begin play. So I'm just going to add it. And if you remember on our last video, on the use weapon, I had casted over here. I've casted to our weapon and then run this function. But I made a small change over there. So what I did was I make a function instead called get weapon reference. Over here, I'm just getting this weapon child blueprint. Sorry, this child actor, and then getting the child actor and casting it to our weapon master. And then I have added it onto the begin play. So why I did this is instead of casting every time I use the weapon, so if I was casting it over here, so every time I use the weapon, it used to cast, like it cast every time. So if I fire 40 times, so it casts to the weapon 40 times, which is performance heavy. So better, what I did was I just casted once on our begin play and saved the reference. You can just do this as well. So now let's have a look. Yes. So we have our nice little PlayerHUD. I think the crosshair is a bit bigger, so let me make it a bit small. Maybe let's make it 64 by 64. Yes, this is much better. So now, what we need to do is we need to set up our ammunition system in our weapon. So for that, I'm going to come to my weapon master. Before doing that, right now we are shooting through this arrow. If you see over here, we are firing the bullet from this arrow. So since we have our crosshair, what we can do is instead of doing this one, we can delete this one. We don't need it. So we can get our player character reference. We can get the FPS camera that I have and use this camera instead. So what's going to happen now is when I fire, it's going to fire from the crosshair itself. So after that, let's set up our ammunition system. So for that, we need few variables, and those are, first one is current ammo. So this variable is for how many ammo that we currently have in our magazine. So I'm going to compile it and set it to 40 by default. Then I'm going to make another one called magazine size. So this is the total magazine size that we have. So the total ammo on our magazine, which is going to be 40 as well. So you might ask, why do we need both of this? Because to calculate the ammo changes, we need magazine size. The ammo changes, the current ammo changes based on the magazine size. I know it might not be clear right now, but it's going to be clear later on. So after that, we need another variable called ammo reserve. So this is the total ammo that you have, which I'm going to make it, let's say, around 200. So that's it. So now, onto our line trace suit, we need to add few checks. The first one is we can only shoot if the current ammo is greater than 0. Let's say if the current ammo is equal to 0, we can't shoot. So let's add this check. So now what's going to happen is, so I'm going to fire, let's say, okay, let's make a small change. just for some time, let's make this 5. So right now we have 5 ammo on our weapon, on our magazine. So if I fire 5 times, okay, it's not working because after we set this one inside the line trace, what I need to do is I need to subtract 1 every time I fire. So just add this decrement node. So what this does is, so every time you fire, it's going to subtract 1 bullet from your current ammo. So now I've got 5 ammo on my current ammo on my magazine. So if I fire 5 times, I should not be able to fire after that. Now I can't fire. See, I'm pressing the button, but I can't fire. So that is what we want. So let's set this back to 40 again. Now we need to display this ammo on our UI. So how can we do that? So for that, I'm going to use something called event dispatchers. So many people, what they do is they just bind, they come over here, they come over here and they bind the text from here, create binding. We should not do that. And why is that? Because this runs every second, so every frame. So if your game is running at 50 frames per second, 60 frames per second, this function will run 60 times in a second, which is very performance heavy. So we have to avoid binding as much as we can. So I'm just going to delete this one. So instead of that, we have a thing called event dispatcher provided by Unreal Engine itself. So what this is going to do is, I'm going to explain in a second. So first of all, make a new one and call it OnAmmoChange. Also, since we have current ammo and ammo reserve, I'm going to add 2 inputs over here. So inputs are integer. This is going to be our current ammo. And another one is ammo reserve. Okay, there we go. So what this event dispatcher does is, so every time we fire a weapon, we can call this event dispatcher. And once we call this one, inside our PlayerHUD, we can bind it over here to get that changes. So we call on our weapon master blueprint and the PlayerHUD listen to it by binding. So it's pretty simple. So instead of just adding it over here, I always like to make function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a function called BroadcastAmmoChange. And I'm just going to call this over here instead. I'm going to call it and I'm going to pass this value over here, current ammo and ammo reserve. Sweet. That's it. So which means every time we fire our weapon, we need to broadcast this ammo changes. There we go. Because every time we fire, we are subtracting 1 from current ammo. That means this is going to be -1 once we fire once. If we fire 10 bullets, this is going to be 30 instead of 40. So we need to display that changes. That's why every time we fire, we have to run this function BroadcastAmmoChange. There we go. Now, since we called it over here, let's make the UI listen to it. So what we can do. So into our construct, I'm going to cast to player character. So I would like to make a function for that again. So get player character. So here you can get player character like this as well. But instead of that, the better way is to get owning player. So owning player will be our controller, as I said before. And from here, I'm going to get control pawn. And I'm going to cast to player character. After this, I'm just going to save it as a variable. And then, okay, I'm going to have to fix this one from here. I'm going to have to remove binding. There we go. So now I'm going to have to add it on our event construct. So from here, once we added this, let's just bind it as well. So as I said before, on our player character, we have the reference for weapon master. So I'm going to get the weapon master. You might ask why weapon master, because we have this event dispatcher inside the weapon master, not inside our character. You might say, why can't we directly cast it to our weapon master? We can't, because our player owns the weapon. So that's why we need to get the player first. And from player, we can get the reference of the weapon. So now from here, I can bind event OnAmmoChange. There we go. So now once we do this one, so this is going to listen to our BroadcastAmmoChange over here. So we need to do one more thing, and that is from this event, we need to create event. And onto the select function, you can click on create a matching function. So it creates this function over here. I'm going to rename it to PlayerHUD OnAmmoChange. There we go. So now we've got the current ammo and we've got the ammo reserve. So from my weapon master, this event dispatcher sends the value of current ammo and it sends the value of ammo reserve as well. Now I need to listen over here. Since it's sending from here, I need to receive it over here. So how can I receive that value? It's pretty simple. So get this text current. I'm going to set text. I'm going to use this function one, set text. And I'm going to print that value over here. Same thing with the ammo reserve. Set text. And I'm going to pass this value over here. So what this function is doing right now is it gets the value of current ammo and ammo reserve from our weapon master from this event dispatcher, and it displays on our current ammo and ammo reserve with this function called set text. That's it, pretty simple. So after this one, also just to be sure, I like to call the I like to call that BroadcastAmmoChange one more time over here, because what happens is on our default value of current ammo and ammo reserve, we have 0. So as soon as the game starts, we like to change that value to our current ammo and ammo reserve, which is 40 and 200. So if we don't have this one, what's going to happen is, let's say we don't added this function. So what's going to happen is, say it still shows 0 on our current ammo and ammo reserve, but then once we fire, it's going to show the actual bullet, sorry, the actual ammunition count. So to avoid that, I will just call this BroadcastAmmoChange one more time, because as soon as the game loads, it calls this function. So now you can see the difference. As soon as the game starts, we already have the current ammunition on our UI. So now, every time we fire, the ammunition, the current ammo is going to decrease. All right, now time to set up reload animation. So for that, come to the weapon master, and I'm going to make a function called reload weapon. To understand a reload system, we need to get familiar with these three terms. And those are current ammo, magazine size, and ammo reserve. So what is current ammo? Current ammo is the ammo that player has in his magazine right now. So it could be 40, it could be less than 40, it could be 30, it could be 20, depends how many ammunition that the player has used right now. And ammo reserve is the total ammo that the player has in its backpack, which as of now I've given 200 value to that. And you might say, so what is a magazine size? Magazine size is the maximum current ammo that the player can have, which is 40 by default. And by default, magazine size and current ammo will be equal, because when the player has not used any ammunition, the current ammo will be equal to magazine size, which is a bit confusing at the moment, but it will get clear once I explain it. So now you know these three terms. Let's work on the reload logic. Let's say I have used 20 ammunition from my bullets. So I have already used 20 ammo from my gun. So in that case, what's going to happen? That means on our current ammo, we have 20 ammo only, which means we need to get 20 ammo to load. That means after reload, we need to get 20 ammo from the ammo reserve. So how do we know the value? We know that we need 20, but how can we tell the logic that we need 20 ammunition to load from the ammo reserve? So for that, this magazine size comes in use. So you get the magazine size, which is 40 by default. And if we subtract the current ammo from magazine size, we get a value, and that value is ammo to load. I'm going to promote it to local variable and call it ammo to load. That means now we have the value that we need to take from the ammo reserve and set it on our current ammo. So we had used 20 ammunition. That means 40 minus 20 is now we need 20 ammo to load. That's why we need this magazine size, just for this one subtraction. So now we have the ammo to load. So where do we load the ammo from? We load the ammo from ammo reserve, right? Because the ammo reserve has the actual amount of ammo that we have in our backpack. But sometimes there will be a condition where, let's say, we need 20 ammo to load, but we only have 18 ammo on our backpack. That means we can't just get 20 ammo because we just don't have it. So what to do in that case? In that case, we need to send the total ammunition that we have. Let's say it might be 18, it might be 16, but we need 20. So in that case, instead of passing the value 20, we need to pass the total ammo reserve that we have. So how to do that? For that, we have this node called min. So what this does is, it's going to choose what's the smallest between these two, and it's going to pass that instead. So let's say we need 20 ammo to pass, but we only have 16 ammo on our ammo reserve. That means it's going to pass the 16 ammo, and the current ammo will be 36 instead of 40, because 20 plus 16 is 36. If we had ammo reserve greater than ammo to load, it would just pass 20 plus 20. It will just be 40. It's a bit confusing, but you will get it. So now this is the amount of ammo that we need to pass onto our current ammo, but we can't just pass it like this, because this is the ammo to load. So the ammo to load is not equal to current ammo, because we need to add previous current ammo onto our ammo to load. So for example, we use 20 ammo. That means we have 20 ammo on our current ammo, and the ammo to load is 20. So 20 plus 20 is going to be 40. That is the current ammo, maximum current ammo that we can have. Here we go. So now once we set this current ammo, we need to set a new ammo reserve as well, because we have used ammo to load. We have used this 20 ammo from the ammo reserve. That means we need to subtract that 20 ammo, right, from our ammo reserve and set new ammo reserve, which is going to be 200 minus 20 is 180. So that's it. This is it. So that is going to be our reload logic. I've tried to make it as simple as possible and as modular as possible. So into our line trace suite, over here, we can add one check. That is, if the current ammo is equal to 0, we can call this function called reload weapon. So once we call this function, let's have a look. So what is going to happen is, once we fire our full magazine, it should take the 40 ammo from our ammo reserve, and it should be 40 by 160. As I said, so it took 40 ammo from our ammo reserve and get that 40 value on our current ammo. So that's why it got 40 out of 160. So our reload function is working fine. But what if we need to have a partial reload system? Let's say I've used 8 ammunition, but now I want to reload. So how to set that up? Which is pretty easy again. So for that, into our reload weapon, we need to have few checks. That is going to be, we can only reload our weapon if our current ammo is less than the magazine size. And also we can only reload if our ammo reserve is greater than 0. Because if we don't have any bullets on our ammo reserve, we cannot reload, right? So once we have these 2 checks, let's do one more check. That is, let's set a Boolean called isReloading to true. So every time we reload, we want this Boolean to be true. Let's not use this for now. We need this, but let's not use it for now. And after this, we need to make a input. Right click onto the input action, and just make it IA reload, and that's it. And onto the IMC, add your IA reload and just set it to any input that you want. I'm using R, and that's it. You don't need to add anything else. After that, come to your player character and search here called IA reload, and into the reload, get your weapon master reference and search for reload. So now let's fire the weapon. So now we have utilized 11 ammunition from our current ammo, which means once I press reload, it should take that 11 ammunition from ammo reserve, and it should be 40 by 189. So let's try it. Okay, it's not working. It's working, but it's not displaying on the ammunition straight away. So if I fire, then it's going to display. And why is that? It's same thing as I said before. After this, we need to have this thing called BroadcastAmmoChange. So right after we reload, we need to change that. We need to broadcast that ammo change to our UI. So let's try it again. So that means once I press reload, it should be 40 by 190. There we go. It's working perfectly fine. So now we need to have the reload animation as well. So for that, you need to have the animation that you could easily get from Mixamo. On my case, I have it already onto the weapon not on the weapon, into the character animation. I have this action, no additive. I have this animation called reload. And also I have made a montage out of it. So this was the animation. I right clicked on it, create animation montage, and I get this montage over here. So now let's make a function called reload montage. And here, now let's get the here character, get FPS hand, because the FPS hand needs to play the animation. So I'm going to get anim instance, and I'm going to search for montage play. There we go. And I would like to promote it to variable because we might have different reload animation with different gun. So I'm going to rename it to character mont reload anim. All right, once we have this montage set up, so what we can do is onto our reload weapon, you can play this montage over here. So after this, it's going to play the animation, but I want you to focus on the UI over here. I want you to focus over here. So once I fire and once I reload, okay, it's not playing the animation because I have not added this animation over here into my rifle. I need to add that actual animation. So now have a look on the UI, onto the ammo count. So when I'm reloading, the UI changes before the reload animation finish. So how to avoid that? So to avoid that, come to the weapon master again, come to the reload montage, set this return value type to duration, and add a return node. And we need to return this duration value over here. Not this one, not this one. And over here, now we have this output pin called duration. So what I'm going to do is, instead of adding the function straight away, I'm going to add something called set timer by function name. And then the time will be the duration of the montage. And then over here, I'm going to call this function by this set timer by function name. So I'm going to copy the name and put it over here. So what this set timer by function name node does is, so it's going to wait until the animation finish, until this duration completes, and then only run this BroadcastAmmoChange function. So let's say this animation is of 20 seconds. So it will wait 20 seconds before running this BroadcastAmmoChange function. So now if we have a look, so when we reload, first it's going to reload, and then it's going to update the UI, as you can see. Okay, I'm going to show it to you once again. So have a look on the ammo count. So I'm reloading, and then it's going to change the ammo count and the ammo reserve. So it looks like we have successfully made a reload system, but there is one more thing. what if we are reloading and we just press fire before the reload finishes? So what happens in that case? So let's have a look. So I'm reloading, but if I fire, it's going to cancel the reload and it's going to fire. We don't want that. So to fix that, I had made this variable earlier, if you remember, called isReloading. So onto our reload weapon, as soon as we reload, we need to set it to true. We need to add one more check, and that is if isReloading is not true. That means if isReloading is not true, then only we can reload. But as soon as we press reload, we are making it true so that we cannot spam reload. So now, after that, I'm going to promote it to local variable called montage length. And I'm going to have another set timer by function name. And I'm going to make another function called set reloading. Here I'm simply setting reloading to false so that I can reload again if I have to. So over here, instead of running this function, I need to run this function instead. Once the reload animation montage finishes, I can reload again because I've set it to false again. So this is to counter reloading spam. So to fix the issue of not being able to fire when reloading, now what we can do is into our line trace or into our line trace suite. Over here we can do one more check, and that is I'm going to add an Boolean, and I'm going to check only if isReloading is false. So now we have fixed two issues over here. One is I cannot fire when I'm reloading. So I'm trying to fire, I can't. And another one is I can't reload twice. So when I'm reloading, I can't reload twice. I can only reload once the reload animation finishes and once I have used few bullets. So this is it for this video. I hope you guys learned something new. And if this video helped you guys, make sure to leave a like and subscribe my channel for an interesting video like this one. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.